It's Dan Tortora of Wake Up Call here with Airon Servais, who's played pretty much every single position on the line, right tackle, left tackle, center. Airon, looking at that, being so multiple, in this camp, have you found a position or a place, or are you still rotating all over?
No, I've pretty much been sticking at right tackle for camp, yeah.
And so bring me into that. I mean, is that where you have felt most comfortable when you look back on your career? Do you feel like right tackle is the best spot?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely where I'm most comfortable, especially because now I've gotten so many reps there. I mean, I finished the year last year there. I went through all of spring basically at right tackle and then all of camp as well. So I'm definitely getting a lot of reps and I'm definitely getting really comfortable there.
Left tackle, I spoke with Sean Hickey about it before in the past, that when he had to rotate from left tackle to right tackle, and just, you know, people don't think much of it. They're like, oh, tackle's tackle, but you have to change. Literally, you have to like mirror yourself the other way. So how are you able to bounce back and forth when you've had to do that?
Yeah, I mean, so in the past, we've done a lot of cross-training stuff, so it wasn't unusual to have guys play both spots, you know, even in one practice. But yeah, there definitely is a bit of a learning curve when you first make that transition. Just getting used to, you know, having your hands flipped, having your feet flipped, things like that. But it's usually not too bad. Usually, if you have to make the switch by the end of the practice, you're usually getting pretty comfortable.
Left tackle, who has really shown out, in your opinion, being a vet on this line? Who have you liked seeing over there in camp?
I mean, Burge is always solid at left for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's locked down that spot for a few games for us now, and he does a great job out there, I think.
Matt Bergeron, who you just mentioned, had to step in. What did you see from him in those few games and then through camp, through the spring and now, that makes you feel like he can protect that blind side?
Yeah, I mean, we made that switch last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, he stepped in right away. He's a young dude. He's a really athletic dude, and he's a really smart dude. That's the biggest thing that surprised me, even when he came in as a freshman. And you know, he ended up having to play right tackle for us for a few games that first year. Really smart dude. He picks up stuff really well. And then he's able to transition from the film to the field really well, yeah.
You've played center. What can you say about the center position now and the personnel there?
I mean, the guys are working. We're doing a little bit stuff different up front in terms of calls and things like that from previous years. But I like what I'm seeing from those guys. They're doing their best to pick up everything and learn, and I think they're doing a really good job communicating to the other guys on the line. So we all know what we're supposed to be doing. I think they're doing well.
Has anybody really claimed that yet, or no?
I think there's a lot of good competition there. Yeah.
So when you see that competition there, I mean, obviously somebody has to know that spot, you know, very, very well, because everybody looks to the quarterback, but if you're not hiking the ball right, your timing's not down. I mean, the center has that extremely crucial and very important job. Mm-hmm. We've seen you play there. Carlos has played there as well. What can you say about, you know, maybe some of the guys individually in that competition of maybe what they've shown you technique-wise?
I think the biggest thing with center is you got to be a gritty dude,
yeah.
Right? You got to be an asshole. So I think those guys are really trying to work on developing that mentality. You know, first it's knowing, you know, what you're doing, what everybody else needs to be doing, and then communicating that. But then after that, it's the way that you play the game.
The guards, left guard and right guard, who's been stepping up there?
Again, I think we've been looking at a few different guys, trying to see what the best five is.
Yeah.
There's certainly competition in those groups, and it's good to see the guys go out there and work on that.
Some of the young guys that have come in, can you make any notes on some of those offensive linemen that have come in here, like Tyler, like Enrique and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, so those guys are really young, so obviously you can't necessarily expect them to be, you know, starting ACC linemen. Yeah. But those guys are working really, really hard. They're really focusing in the film room, and they got a lot of closeness. I've noticed they're a really tight-knit group. Those new guys that came in, and that's really good to see.
Brought in some guys from Hawaii. What's that been like to see some people from the island?
It's kind of cool. I mean, they've got a little bit different a culture out there than we do here. Yeah. So it's cool to see the Hawaiian flavor that they bring into the room.
For you to be such a vet on this line, really to be not just the father, but like the grandfather of this offensive line, of the guys that have returned, I know that you've said there's competition, you haven't named names specifically, but who are you happy to see back here when you look to being on the right tackle, really just looking down the line to the left of you, who are some of those guys that you think have improved, if you can name some of them specifically, just on what you've seen from when they got here and to where they are now?
Honestly, I think everyone's improved. I know that you want me to name names and stuff, but I mean it. Everybody's improved. I think the front five has certainly made some big jumps, and obviously, the 2s and 3s are coming along as well. But I think up front, especially in that first group, that's the guys I work with the most, right? I think we've made a lot of jumps, especially, from the beginning of spring until now. And even from the end of the spring until now, throughout camp, I think we've progressed a lot. It's really good to see the growth, and I'm excited to see that keep continuing into the season.
Is there more depth this year than you've seen since you've been here?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's fair to say.
Yeah.
So you feel like there's at least 2 deep at each position if you need it?
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, the big thing there is even just being able to, as the one guy, just having an extra group to, take a little more reps during the practice. So instead of cycling 2 groups through all the drills and stuff like that, you're cycling 3 groups. So you get a little bit more, a little bit less wear and tear on your body, which is nice.
You decided to come back for year 6, and here at right tackle, NFL-wise, playing left tackle, playing center, do you feel like that's going to help your film, that they can see you at all 3 positions? Do you want to really show them that you're one of the best right tackles in the country? How do you look at it right now?
I mean, I'm going to go out there and play the best ball that I can every week. It's not really up to me what position I play at the next level. It's going to be up to the teams. Some teams might like me and my center film better. They might like my tackle film better. So I'm just going to keep playing the position that I'm at right now. And, I certainly look at my versatility as a strength. But yeah, I'm just going to keep working.
I know it's hard to talk about this statistically, it was rough, but the last 2 years Syracuse was last in the country in sacks allowed at a certain point. What are you guys doing to correct what you saw last year and the year before?
Everything we can. I mean, Coach Smith's been huge on the technique. He does not want a repeat of what we've seen in the last few years, and neither do we. So yeah, we've really been busting our butt to really dial in on the technique stuff, really dial in on the scheme stuff. And yeah, we don't want that to happen again. Absolutely.
Quarterback-wise, Tommy DeVito and Garrett Schrader, we've heard from Dino that we're going to see them both. What does that do for an offensive line to have to prepare to have 2 different quarterbacks and 2 different skill sets back there?
It doesn't do as much as you would think. Both of those guys are really, really talented. They've certainly got their strengths. And, up front, it doesn't really change for us. We got to give each guy as much time as we can. We got to dent guys in the run game as much as we can, no matter who's behind us. So it doesn't change things as much as you think it would.
Leadership-wise, how does that affect the team that you have 2 guys trying to command the team right now? I mean, Garrett's trying to build his relationships and Tommy's trying to expand his as well. So how does that work out in like a locker room or a practice setting?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, why just have one leader when you can have 2? You know what I mean? I think it's great to have both those guys, out there and taking charge of the offense and leading us down the field. I think it's awesome.
And then lastly, running back wise, for me, I love the position. And I know that it's been a long time since Syracuse has had a 1,000-yard back, since 2012 with Jerome Smith, and then all-purpose Prince Tyson Gully got 1,000 that year as well. But you have Josh Huff coming in, who's a bruiser from Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. You have Cooper Lutz, who stepped up. Sean Tucker, I've seen not only did what he did last year, but I've seen his body has obviously changed in the best of ways, put on more muscle. Abdul Adams has changed his body as well, and Jarvion Howard. So I would imagine that you want to run the ball a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of different dudes that can definitely tote the rock. So don't be surprised if there's more than one 1,000-yard rusher.